There are moments in life when everything feels like it is breaking you. Not just one problem, but everything at once. Your peace disappears. Your motivation dies. Your confidence shakes. Your future feels unclear. And even your own thoughts start turning against you. And in that moment, you start asking, why me? Why now? When will this end? Am I even going to make it? But let me tell you something very clearly. This phase you are in is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a version of your life you cannot even imagine yet. Because every powerful transformation in life comes after a phase that tries to destroy you. 1. This is the phase that separates you from your old self. Right now, you are not just struggling. You are being reconstructed. Life is not only testing your strength. It is removing everything that does not belong in your next level. People think pain is punishment. But sometimes pain is preparation. Because the truth is, if you were not going through something powerful, you would not be forced to become powerful. 2. You are not breaking, you are being rebuilt. There is a difference between breaking and rebuilding. Breaking destroys you. But rebuilding reshapes you into something stronger, sharper, and more focused. Right now, you may feel lost. You may feel tired. You may feel stuck. You may feel behind. But these are not signs of failure. These are signs of transformation. Because nothing grows in comfort. And nothing becomes strong without resistance. Even steel is not strong when it is soft. It becomes strong only after fire, pressure, and shaping. So what makes you think your life will be different? 3. The darkest phase always comes before the breakthrough. Every successful person you admire went through a phase they almost didn't survive. A phase where everything was uncertain. Nothing was working. Nobody believed in them. Even they stopped believing in themselves. But here is what made the difference. They didn't stop. Not because they were strong, but because they refused to stay down forever. 4. You are closer than you think. One of the biggest lies pain tells you is this. You are far from your success. But in reality, you are often closest to your breakthrough when everything feels like it is falling apart. Because life doesn't warn you before change happens. It breaks you first. Then rebuilds you into someone new. 5. This phase is not forever, but it will change you forever. Let this sink in. This phase will not last forever. But who you become because of it will last your entire life. You will either let it destroy you, or let it transform you. There is no middle path. And the decision you make in this phase will decide your next 10 years. 6. The question is not, why is this happening? Stop asking, why me? Start asking, what is this turning me into? Because every painful phase carries instructions. But you can only see them when you stop resisting and start understanding. Pain is not random. It is directional. It is pushing you somewhere. The real question is, will you follow where it is leading you, or will you give up halfway? 7. Pressure is not your enemy, it is your training ground. Right now, life feels heavy. But heaviness is not always harm. Sometimes it is training. Think about it. A diamond is not formed in comfort. It is formed under extreme pressure. And yet, when it finally emerges, it becomes something people travel the world to see. So ask yourself, if pressure is creating diamonds in nature, why would it destroy you? It won't. But it will test whether you are willing to become something stronger than your current identity. 8. You are outgrowing your old identity. One of the most painful parts of this phase is not the situation itself. It is the feeling of becoming unfamiliar to yourself. Things that used to make you happy don't hit the same anymore. People you used to connect with feel distant. Old habits don't satisfy you anymore. And you think something is wrong. But nothing is wrong. You are simply outgrowing your old self. Because every next level of life demands a new version of you. And becoming that new version always feels uncomfortable. 9. Why everything feels like it's falling apart. There is a hidden truth about breakdowns. Sometimes life doesn't fall apart. It falls into place. But it only looks like chaos in the beginning. Because when old structures collapse, old habits disappear. Old relationships fade. Old thinking patterns break. And what remains is space. Empty space. And empty space is scary. But empty space is also where new life begins. 10. The people who win are not luckier, they are louder than their pain. You may think successful people had easier lives. They didn't. They just learned something early. Pain is not a stop sign. It is a signal to evolve. While most people stop when life gets hard, winners adjust. They don't wait for pain to disappear. They learn how to move with it. Not because it is easy, but because quitting is more expensive. 11. Your current struggle is building invisible strength. Even if nothing around you is changing yet, something inside you is. You are building emotional strength, mental endurance, patience under pressure, resistance to fear, clarity through confusion. These are not visible skills, but they are powerful enough to change your entire future. Right now, you are not just surviving. You are upgrading silently. 12. Why most people break in this phase. This is the part most people never understand. People don't break because life is hard. They break because they expect fast results. They think pain means failure. They believe progress should always be visible. They lose patience before transformation completes. But real growth is slow, silent, and uncomfortable. That is why most people quit too early. Not because they are weak, but because they misinterpret the process. 13. If you can stay calm in chaos, you will become unstoppable. There is a rare strength that only comes from surviving hard phases. It is the ability to stay calm when nothing makes sense. Not because you are ignoring reality, but because you understand it better than your emotions do. When you reach that level, fear loses control. Confusion loses power. Pressure stops shaking you. And that is when life starts responding differently to you. 14. You are being prepared for a version of life you cannot see yet. Right now, your vision is limited. You can only see your struggle. But life can see your potential. And it is shaping you for something you cannot yet imagine. Because if you saw your future too early, you would not understand the cost required to reach it. So instead, life prepares you step by step. Even if it feels slow. Even if it feels painful. Even if it feels unfair. 15. How to mentally survive this phase. Let's be honest. There are moments when motivation disappears completely. You don't feel inspired. You don't feel strong. You don't feel like yourself. And in those moments, you don't need big motivation. You need mental survival strategy. So listen carefully. You don't have to win every day. You just have to not quit today. That's it. Because this phase is not about constant progress. It is about not collapsing while everything is heavy. Even small actions matter. Getting up when you don't feel like it. Doing the basics even when your mind is tired. Not feeding negative thoughts too much attention. Surviving one more day without giving up. That is not weakness. That is discipline in disguise. 16. Pain is rewriting your personality. You are not the same person you were a few months ago. And that is not random. Pain is shaping your personality quietly. It is teaching you things comfort never could. Patience when nothing is happening. Strength when nothing is working. Silence when no one understands. Emotional control when everything feels unstable. Right now, you may feel like you are losing yourself. But in reality, you are losing your old programming. And that is necessary for your next level. Because your future cannot fit inside your old mindset. 17. Why giving up feels easier, but is more dangerous. There is a moment in every difficult phase where quitting feels like relief. Your mind whispers. Just stop. Just escape. Just leave it. And yes, quitting feels like peace in the short term. But here is the truth nobody tells you. Quitting doesn't end pain. It only postpones your potential. Because the same challenge will show up again in another form. Different situation. Same lesson. Until you finally face it. That is why giving up is not an exit. It is a delay. A delay of the life you are supposed to build. 18. Your breakthrough is not loud, it is silent first. Most people imagine breakthroughs like fireworks. Sudden success. Sudden change. Sudden transformation. But real breakthroughs don't start outside. They start inside. Quietly. Slowly. Almost invisibly. First, your mindset changes. Your reactions change. Your patience increases. Your perspective shifts. And only after that, life starts changing around you. So if nothing big is happening outside yet, don't assume nothing is happening at all. 19. The strongest version of you is being built in silence. You don't see it yet. But every struggle is adding something to you. Every setback is building resilience. Every disappointment is building clarity. Every failure is building direction. Every lonely moment is building self-awareness. And one day, you will look back and realize, this phase didn't break me, it built me. But only if you stay long enough to see that truth. 20. You are not behind, you are being prepared differently. Stop comparing your timeline to others. Because you are not on a delayed path. You are on a different preparation path. Some people grow fast but break fast. Some people grow slow but become unshakable. And you don't get to see the price others paid for their success. So your journey feels slower. But it might be deeper. Stronger. More permanent. 21. The real test is not pain, it is your reaction to pain. Pain is not the real challenge. Everyone experiences pain. The real difference is who lets pain destroy them, and who lets pain develop them. That is the only separation between people who quit and people who rise. Same pressure. Different interpretation. There comes a point in every difficult phase where something shifts. Not outside. Inside. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start realizing, this is happening for me, not against me. That single shift changes everything. Because as long as you see pain as punishment, you stay stuck in suffering. But the moment you see it as preparation, you start growing through it. 23. You stop reacting, and start understanding. Earlier, every problem controlled your emotions. Small setbacks felt huge. Delays felt like failure. Confusion felt like the end. But after surviving enough pressure, something changes in you. You don't panic as quickly. You don't break as easily. You don't lose direction instantly. You start responding instead of reacting. And that is where real strength begins. Not in changing your situation, but in changing your internal stability. 24. The old you dies silently. This is the part most people don't notice. Transformation is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is quiet death of the old version of you. The version that gave up too quickly, overthought everything, depended on motivation, feared uncertainty, needed constant reassurance. That version slowly disappears. And in its place, a stronger version is formed. Not perfect, but powerful. 25. When you survive this phase, you become unshakable. There is a type of strength that only comes from surviving storms. Not avoiding them, not escaping them, but walking through them and still standing. After that, failure doesn't scare you anymore. Rejection doesn't stop you anymore. Pressure doesn't break you anymore. Uncertainty doesn't control you anymore. Because you've already lived through something that once felt impossible. And you survived. That changes everything. 26. Your future self is already thanking you. Imagine this. There is a version of you in the future. Calm, strong, successful, peaceful. That version of you exists because of the decisions you make right now. Every time you don't quit, you are building that future person. Every time you continue, you are closing the gap between who you are and who you are becoming. So even if today feels meaningless, it is not. It is construction. Invisible, but powerful. 27. This phase was never meant to destroy you. Let this settle deeply. If life wanted to destroy you, it wouldn't have given you awareness. It wouldn't have given you strength to reflect. It wouldn't have given you the ability to endure this long. The fact that you are still here, thinking, feeling, continuing, means something important. You are not meant to break. You are meant to break through. 28. The life you want is on the other side of this phase. Everything you want. Peace, success, confidence, stability, respect, freedom. It is not far. But it is behind this phase. Not around it. Not away from it. Through it. And that is why most people never reach it. Because they turn back too early. But if you don't, everything changes. 29. Final truth. You don't need to feel ready. You will never feel fully ready. You will never feel 100% confident. You will never feel completely sure. But you don't need that. You only need one thing. To not stop. Because progress is not built on perfect days. It is built on continued days. Even when you are tired. Even when you are unsure. Even when nothing makes sense. 30. Closing message. If you survive this phase. If you survive this phase. And you will survive it if you keep going. You will not be the same person again. You will look back and realize. This was the turning point. This was the rebuilding stage. This was the silent transformation. This was where everything changed. And the version of you that comes out of this will be stronger than anything life throws at you again. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. Final word. So if you are in this phase right now, don't rush it. Don't fear it. Don't run from it. Just stay in it long enough to become someone it cannot destroy. Because one day, you will say, I didn't just survive it. I became because of it.